Hi, it's David Gomm in the Stained Glass Studio. Have you ever run out of jump rings just when you need one? Or have you ever, just wanted to save money? Well, I've got a solution for you. Now, on this video, we're going to show you, there's a simple way to make jump rings. Here's a pencil. I just hold a piece of 18 gauge copper wire and I hold it and I wrap it around the pencil, and I slide it off, and I can just easily clip some little tiny jump rings. Now what if I need a bigger one? Well, then I can take a Sharpie pen and I can wrap that around, and it's probably better that I wrap it tighter than I'm doing, something like that. And then you just yank that off, and then clip. Now we used to use this size jump ring all the time for bigger windows, and they no longer sell this size. So that's pretty handy. Well, now that was a quick, easy way to make a couple of jump rings, but what if you need more, and what if you want more accuracy? Well, we're going to join Jeanne with a friend, and we'll have her tell you how to do really good jump rings.
So have you ever wished that you could have your own little jump rings? You go to the store and buy a little tiny package of them, and there might be 10 in them, and you pay a lot of money for that little bit. Then you probably have thought to yourself, I would like to learn how to make jump rings for myself. Well, we are here with Weston Tolman, and he has done a lot of ring making. This one. Wow. The other one if you run out of juice. Okay, so
All
start
right.
from the beginning.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
that's
so
going to be B-roll somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Do you want some help getting on? Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Put that on, he'll lose weight.
Yeah, I'll say.
He will also burn up, collects heat like
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. So, we would like to have him show us how this very technical way to make rings. Weston, we turn it over to you.
Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to build a very simple jig with some very simple tools, and it won't take long to crank out about a foot full of rings you can cut.
Okay.
Let me get the right size. I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to use these scrap pieces of wood to make something to hold this rod so that it'll be an axle for us to wind our rings on.
Okay.
Right now I'm just using a battery powered drill to help me with the screws. You can use nails. There really isn't any particular method for what you're going to do. So these are just offcuts from other projects I worked on. They're somewhere close to the same. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to butt the ends up together so they're even here, and I'm going to build two starting holes for the screws to go through, about within the width of that wood, which would be something like here. Okay, so those are the two bottom mounting screws. Now I gotta drill the axle hole for the rod to go through. And again, just kind of butt it up. You want this to be as parallel as possible.
Okay.
And just up these bricks here. Get that in that position. That looks good. It does not have to be very accurate. It has to be close. And as you can see, it's very nice to have something you can drill into. Alright, so that is that for those two.
That's the one that usually stays on my drill all the time.
Yeah. So all I'm going to do is use these 1 5/8" exterior screws. Doesn't really matter. Like I said, you can use nails. You can make this out of anything. It could easily be done with, in fact, even an old wooden box would work too. You just gotta make sure you drill a parallel hole for the axle to go through. Now the axle can be anything. It could be made out of wood, but beware that over a period of time that wood will shrink due to the compression of the rings. Okay. So we just have a quick little L shape. We'll do the same thing here. Now, when I was making rings for the shirt, the jig I had was 1 yard long because you need a lot of rings. So, but like I said, size doesn't really matter. Okay. So you just have a U-shaped bracket. Now, if we're lucky, this will fit through here. Sometimes a little gentle persuasion helps. Let's see, I want that hole to be exposed. Okay, so, like I said, the axles can be made of anything. Wood, metal. This rod is actually from an old laser printer. It was one of the rods that would held the wheels together so that you could get paper out. Took it apart, salvaged it. That works just fine. Now, we got to make an important part. Make sure the axle is strong enough to turn, because that's going to be your mechanism to actually wind. Oh yeah. Okay, that spins just fine. And I'm just going to go ahead and use this existing hole. So we're just going to spin that a little. And a variable speed drill really helps a lot. Okay, now that we know that spins, you can clamp this down, or if you have like a work table that you can screw into, I'm just going to put a couple of screws into the base to make sure that it doesn't walk. That's in there nice and tight. There we go, that bit. Move. Put it back on the rod. Rotate to where I want, right there. Okay. So you will want a glove. A leather glove. because you're going to be controlling the wire as it goes on the spindle, and you're going to build up tension in the wire that's going to make it a spring. So once you cut it, it is going to go zing, and you don't want to make sure your fingers are anywhere near that or you're going to get cut. Since I need to repair that shirt anyway, I'm just going to make some rings out of the original wire that it was made. You don't have to do anything fancy for the spool. I mean, I'm just going to stick it in here, and then I'm just going to let the spool hang there for right now.
Okay.
So we're pretty much ready to wind. I would prefer, well, it makes more sense to do it in a forward momentum because you're going to be starting it here and working your way up the spindle forever how long you want. So just let the wire be, hold your thumb right above it, let it start slowly so you can get that coil started. Forgive me, the wire's a bit and if you notice, I'm keeping my thumb to keep this tight. If you just let it go, it's going to do a very loose coil and it's not going to be very effective. I'm going to drop some more in. As you can see, I lost a little bit of tension right there because I had to move the spool. Don't unwind it and try to wind it again. Just accept it as is and continue on. But that pretty much shows what happens.
Okay.
You can go as long as you like. Some heavy-duty cutters. Now remember, this will unspring, so just be aware of it. Just go there. That was pretty sedate.
Okay.
All right, so that's done. Go ahead and release this. Okay, to get it off the spindle, you just kind of come back here on the other side of where you spooled the wire and just cut it. Now you just remove the spindle. There's your coil of wire. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but if you can see where we cut right there, with the diagonal cutters, we left it with a sharp point.
Okay.
That's not very effective for rings,
Okay.
especially if you're linking them, because those 2 points will meet up and just slide right out.
All right.
So the best way to handle that is with a pair of metal cutters that cut and shear along a straight line.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. I'm just going to knit this right here. So we got that little edge right there. And if we do one complete ring, you will see when I put it together, you can see that. Don't have anything white. If you look at that, you can see there's a pinch going on where the cutter's cut.
Okay.
Okay, that's what you want to avoid, but that's for chainmail. If you're soldering this on a frame, that doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I'll let you get that. So the best way to get square ends is to use some sheet metal cutters, and you can usually do 3 or 4 just fine. And these have a much different edge. With the proper tools, you can bend it back into shape. But this one is squared, so the ends square up versus the ones that are pinched.
Okay.
And then to finish it, once you start, it's just a matter of choosing how many links you want to do. If you're not very strong in the hands, do one link at a time, or if you are, you can put 3 or 4 or 5. Now we're getting to the one where you can see that I lost tension and it's spaced out.
Yeah.
At this point in time, for what the project is, it doesn't really matter. But the diameter of that one ring will be slightly larger than the others. But like I said, if you're just soldering on to hold frames, that's fine.
Well, wasn't that fun? For one thing, the technical part of it was very interesting to me. But the best thing was that Weston is the nicest guy. And he took time to show us how to do that. And did you see that chainmail vest? I have to tell you, they put it on over my head and then say, okay, are you ready? And they let go of it. Boom! It was so heavy. Just think of that, 27 pounds, bam. And people used to wear that chainmail, for battles and stuff. I'm amazed. So thank you for being with us, and thank you for learning this technical tip with us today. We're always glad to have you with us. Be sure to like our videos and to subscribe to our channel. We love having you come and experience some of the things that we learn too. And be sure to comment. If you have some comments about today's video, just go ahead. We love to hear your comments, and have a wonderful day.
Okay.